Hello, welcome to another tutorial video. Today I'm going to show you, this is part 1, of showing you how to make the Impera era Nameless Ghoul mask from the band Ghost. I hope you find this tutorial helpful to make your own. They aren't exact, as you can see, they aren't exact, but it's the best I can do. And I just want to share how my process of how I made these, and yeah, let's get into it. First off, for materials, you're gonna need a mannequin head. I would recommend a base so you can move it around easier, masking tape, black and white pens, paper, 5mm EVA foam, X-Acto knife and scissors, please be careful, super glue, hot glue gun, some faux black leather, some 2 or 3mm EVA foam, black nail polish, clear nail polish, and black paint, mason jar bands, those pop tube toy thingies, I don't know what they're called, air dry clay, you can also use baking clay, elastic, and some sandpaper. I don't have any but clear black plastic and buckram fabric. Okay, what you're going to want to do is cover only half of your mannequin head with the masking tape. I would recommend drawing a line down the center so it's easier to see where you're putting the tape down this half of the head. Okay, so I have half of it covered. Make sure you overlap in opposite directions when you're putting the tape on. This will make it come off in whole pieces. So like if you put a tape this way, put the next one this way. Next thing you're going to do is take a marker and draw out the panel pieces, so because obviously you can't cut out a round shape straight out of EVA foam. You have to start with flat pieces. So what I do is draw a center line on the side of the head and draw out where the mouthpiece is, like that, you can see. And then about halfway on the mouthpiece I draw a line up, down the top and bottom of the head. Try to make it as an equal distance from the center as possible. When it gets towards the bottom, you can taper it off towards the center. But after that's done, you're gonna want to take an X-Acto knife and then cut along those lines and then take off the tape pieces. Just throw away the mouthpiece. After you cut it out, you won't need it. Another thing that will help you putting it together evenly out of the foam is to mark the seam lines so you know where the parts line up on the foam when you glue it. And make sure to number the pieces too, so you don't lose track of which piece you're making. I did trim up the back a little bit because I brought it too far down with the tape. But I did cut off all of the tape, so now it's ready to be put on paper now. As you're putting it on paper, don't cut out exactly where the tape ends. Add at least 2 or 3 centimeters on the side of your template because EVA foam is thicker than paper, obviously. So if you go directly from the tape template, your mask will be way too small and way too tight. So just add a little bit of space on the outside of your template, and don't forget to put in the marks from earlier. Don't forget to add the number and the marks on the back of your template because we will be flipping it later. So once you have all of your templates transferred, you are free to cut them out and get ready for the next step. For the next part, you're going to take your templates and trace them out on the 5mm EVA foam with a white marker or pen. If you don't have any, you can use black. It's just a little harder to see it. But cut out 2 of each piece, flip each template piece so you have a mirror image of it. As you're making your patterns, I would recommend naming one A and B so you don't lose track of which piece is which. And don't forget to mark where your little seam markers are, like on the template, you put it on the piece you're making. Okay, so I have all the pieces sketched out and I'm going to cut them out now. I recommend using an X-Acto knife to cut this out for cleaner lines. If you don't have an X-Acto knife, that's okay. You can use scissors to cut it out, but the edges will be a little more rougher. I have all the pieces cut out and laid out. And remember to transfer your markings to the other side, and this will help you glue it. See if it's lined up from the inside and just help the gluing process. Once you have all of your pieces cut out, you can start gluing them together. I recommend starting with the two middle pieces first and laying them out and marking lines so you don't accidentally glue them off center. So as you're gluing, you can keep them in place and lined up. Glue small pieces at a time. Don't glue the entire thing and then put it together. It's just you're gonna burn yourself and it's not gonna stick together. Glue very small segments at a time. That's what these lines are also for. You can glue from here to here, let it dry, glue here, dry. It will just help keep it all together and precise. You can also use contact cement. Contact cement kind of holds better, but it also causes a lot of harmful fumes, and it's hard to get right on your first try using it, and sometimes it doesn't set immediately. So I'm just using hot glue because it's all I have right now. As you're going along, you're gonna get these hot glue bumps because as it's squirting out the seams. What I do is I take the tip of the hot glue gun and melt it and then just rub it in until it comes flat. This helps strengthen the bond of the two sides because it puts glue on either side of the piece and it makes the seam stronger so it won't fall apart. Also creates a flat surface for the leather we're going to put on it later so there's no bumps under it. As it gets towards the end, you're going to want to do shorter and shorter bursts of glue because it's going to curve and it's going to be harder to keep the sides parallel to each other and straight. It's an extra measure to make sure the sides stay together and have a strong hold. I put another stream of glue down the center and smear it and melt it flat so each sides have glue connecting to each other. You can see I'm tugging on it pretty hard and bending it and it's not coming off. So having that extra layer of flat smeared glue really helps it bond and stay together. Make sure you have your pieces in piles ordered by the letter so you don't get mixed up and glue the wrong piece to the wrong side. It's okay if the marks don't line up exactly. You can see that second mark isn't really there, but as long as the first mark lines up, you will be fine. As you're gluing the side pieces on, I do recommend doing the same as the outside on the inside because it will most likely tear off since it's curving. It has more tension on the seams and it's more likely your glue to tear off. See, it's already taken shape. I have this side glued down and now I'm gonna glue the third part on, and once I get that done and the other side done, I will show you what it looks like. As you're gluing this third piece on, I recommend gluing small segments of one side and then gluing another small segment on the other side because it will be harder to get together if one part is curved, and it's more likely to tear apart if it's like that. If your pieces overlap a bit, that's okay. You can always just trim it off until it's flat again. If you ever cut pieces too short like I did here, you can always add glue pieces onto it to make it the length it needs to be. From this point, once you have your half, you're gonna want to make sure if it fits right, and if it doesn't feel too tight or too loose. I made it just perfect and it fits pretty comfortably. So I'm gonna glue on the other side now and show you what the base looks like when it is finished. So here's what it looks like when it's all glued together. Here's the back. When you get done gluing it all together, make sure it fits good, so it does fit comfortably and it does feel even. So, to finish up the base, you're gonna take a white pen or marker and put it on your head and feel where your eyes are. So my eyes right about here, and mark and mark. They don't have to be even, they just have to be, you just have to know where they are. So my eyes are here. It's not exactly even, but it doesn't matter because you're going to be circles there anyways for the eyes. And I'll show you what to do next. Surrounding where your eye marks are, draw a circle about a little over 1/2 inch away from the mouthpiece. You will cut this out with an X-Acto knife. You have to use an X-Acto knife, you can't do this with scissors. But cut this out and keep this piece. So once you have that cut out, try your best to match it up on the other side and then trace it out and cut it out. Having this glue seam line down the middle will help you a lot lining it up with the other side because the glue line is about the middle of where the eye is. Okay, now I have both eyes cut out. You can cut, if they look a little too far apart, you can cut more inwards or wherever to make it more even to fit where your eyes are. Once you have the base all finished, what I usually do is I take elastic and glue it on the insides of where your chin will be. The elastic will pull the mask together and keep it more slim to your face. It'll also undo any curling or warping of the foam. As you're gluing the elastic, make sure to not glue it too close to the mouthpiece or the mouth opens up. Okay, so I trimmed the eyes a little bit more because they're a little too small for me. And as you can see, the elastic is keeping this pretty firm to my head, and it's also bringing in the sides so they're not as curled out. So that's ending part 1. I hope you enjoyed, and part 2 will be coming soon. So yeah, that's about it. Goodbye. Take care now. I love you. I like you. Good evening, good night. Goodbye.